Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of Here's the Tea with Teigan. I hope we are all doing very, very well wherever we are listening. And this is our first video episode, which is kind of mad to think. I don't even know how many episodes I'm in on this podcast now. And to be honest, one of the reasons as to why I liked podcasts so much was because I could film it and get a piece of content out without having to do myself up. I could be in a hoodie, my hair could be in a bun, didn't have to have washed my face. It was just nice and comfortable. But I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to use Barry's camera because I don't have a camera and we might as well try this out for a bit. But this week I wanted to go through, and this is going to be so different for me to film because usually I take notes just to make sure that I cover everything too. So if you do see me looking to the side, it's just that I make sure that I go through everything that I wanted to go through in this episode, which is all about how to feel full. And I suppose how to manage that as well, because when we're in fat loss phases, and this is, I suppose, the context that I'm going to speak about it in, is when we're in a fat loss phase, we're in a calorie deficit, right? Everybody knows that now at this stage. Hunger is going to be inevitable, right? But what I find from, I suppose, speaking to girls on Instagram, speaking to women on calls and they're inquiring about coaching, is a lot of you don't actually focus on how to actually make your meals filling. And so many of you could be skipping main meals as well. That's another big one I see ye ladies do, which is a big no-no in my head. And that's making the process so much harder, I am not surprised you are hungry when this is that is your eating pattern, So I want to run you through how to make the most out of your meals so that one, they fill you, and two, you enjoy them, but actually give you the justification on how to specifically build meals that are going to actually keep you fuller for longer and can be fat loss friendly too. But that being said, being in a fat loss phase is going to bring a level of hunger, but it shouldn't be to the point where it's having a severe negative impact to your life, right? It shouldn't be getting to the point where you end up passing out. It shouldn't be getting to the point where you are God forbid none of this happens to you, but falling asleep when you're driving, falling asleep when you're working, just those negative impacts, So the first things that I want to go through, and it's what I call the P.F.F Method. It's just the easier, shorter way to say it, which is building your meals around protein, fats, and fiber. That's what P.F.F stands for. And I know some of you are probably sick of hearing protein this, protein that. Trust me, I get it. I really, really do. Which is kind of why I took a step back from doing high protein recipes and stuff. But I want to run you through why actually making it your business to incorporate protein, fats, and fiber will make sure that you're ticking all your boxes and that's going to make you fuller for longer. So it's not just about protein, knowing that that's the macronutrient that is going to make you fuller for longer. What it actually also does is it reduces your hunger hormone called ghrelin. And the way that I like to think of it is, for anyone that doesn't know, ghrelin and leptin, they're your hunger hormones. So ghrelin is your hunger hormone. Leptin is your fullness. So think, the way that I learned it anyways was grr, as in your belly is grumbling, is ghrelin. So that's your hunger one. Leptin then is your fullness one. That's how I differentiate the two of them. But what that does is it reduces ghrelin. So that helps when you have protein in a meal. And I would say not enough of you are incorporating enough protein in your meals too. So I would actually recommend going for, on the lower end, 25 grams protein in each meal. Ideally, you want more than that. And the more you practice this, you will get better at it. If you haven't taken protein into consideration at all, it's going to be quite difficult at the start, and that's okay. Be open to learning. This is the most important part. That's why protein is important. Also, it's one of the most filling macronutrients. So that's the two sides to protein. The dietary fats one then, so the first F to the P.F.F method. Dietary fats, what's really interesting about dietary fats, and when we speak about this, it's more so healthy fats, okay, is When we have dietary fat in a meal and that we've ingested it and it's in our stomach, if we have a source of dietary fat, it's actually going to slow down the breakdown of that meal. So that meal is essentially going to be in your stomach for longer, which is also giving you that fullness feeling for longer. So even protein and dietary fats in itself themselves are like a fullness hack. Excuse me. See, usually when I don't record, you don't see me sneeze. The next one then is fiber. Now, the reason that this also does a very similar role as to fat. It slows down the breakdown of the meal. But also what fiber does is typically foods that are high in fiber can be high in volume. So like the likes of fruit and veg, they can be high in volume but low in calories. So what that also does is that takes up even more space in your stomach. Then that essentially is stretching your stomach, and that's cueing the feeling of satiation, fullness, satiety, whatever way you want to call it. That is why protein, fats, and fiber is like a fullness hack when it comes to building meals. And that's why I wanted to give you the justification for it. What's also really important from adding these in is this can make your meals very fat loss friendly when it comes to making sure that you're in a calorie deficit. Fiber especially is low in calories like your fruit and veg, so volume up on them. That's also then helping you feel fuller for longer without adding on loads of extra calories. But that is this week's episode. It is very short and sweet. I want to get used to filming in front of the camera because I'm not used to it. But as always, and I'm so not used to saying this on camera, if you do enjoy my podcast, please rate it 5 stars. I will only accept 5 stars, or I will come to your house and eat your biscuits. Or I'll take all the doorknobs off every single door in your house. Maybe I'll do that more because that's a bit more inconvenient. But please do rate the podcast 5 stars. It helps push my podcast to similar listeners like you. And also follow the podcast. So whenever I upload a new episode, which will become more consistent now, if the regular listeners have noticed, they haven't been as consistent, and that's also because I've just been planning more work projects. And we also have another podcast with my partner Barry, if you want to listen to that too. That's called How to Look Like You Go to the Gym podcast. We've done 2 episodes on that so far. And lastly, if you are wondering or want to inquire about working with me one-to-one, you can either fill in the application form on my Instagram bio or DM me the word SEU on Instagram to find out more information. Other than that, I hope you have a lovely weekend, ladies, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!